Good day everyone, this is John here from 3D Create Tutorials. Welcome to this channel. So in this tutorial, I'm going to do another study on creating a nice looking tube model, and here we go. So let's get started. So we're going to start off on the right side view. We're going to rotate that over, and this is the center of the space. Again, we're going to do something similar. We're going to use a curve, and again, I'm just going to use this right along the line here. I'm going to also use the actual snap to grid here just to make it a little bit easier. I'm going to use about right here, and I'm pulling this out to about here, and then back. We'll tab this over, and I'm going to go to about here, and then something like here and here. So now we got an interesting shape here. And again, I'm just going to go in and kind of manipulate this now. So I'm going to go to points and try to kind of just modify this a little bit. I'm thinking about using, a nice looking curve that is something similar to like this. I'm going to go with more like that. And this one can go a little bit more over kind of like this. Try to keep a nice form here. And we're going to start off with the actual form to help us with this. So again, you can make all kinds of different shapes that ever you want with this cool program. And I'm going to start off with just a basic polygon shape. And I'm going to go to the other side here. Go up to the Y. I'm going to use this to kind of drive this out. So I'm going to pull this out just like this. Now I'm going to hit the Shift key here and just rotate this over. And again, I'm going to go down to, it's actually just 3 points. And I'm going to pull this out to about there. So everything's kind of like in the center. And yeah, that's really easy to do, right? So we can go in now and just use this to kind of create these discs. I'm going to go with something like this. And we'll do, again, the same thing. We're going to do a Shift D, G, and we're going to bring this F, G. We're going to bring it over here, kind of like that. Shift D, G, or yeah, just like that over here, and hit OK. Now, one thing I would like to do here is kind of use this form here to kind of help with everything. However, I feel like this is a little bit too big. So I'm going to kind of reduce all these down. So I'm going to scale. So hit the S key twice. I'm going to bring it down to like 0.6. Okay. And same thing with these two. Scale 0.6. And it's real easy to do, right? Scale 0.6. Okay, so now we got all these shapes. We can kind of move these in somewhat. I'm going to take this here and all these here and just kind of move them. So G key, F key, I'm going to use this to pull down on this one. I'm going to take this one here, G key, F key, and pull this on this one. And the same thing over here. G key, F key, and pull this over here. So now we got these kind of combining. Now, it's not really completely the same dynamics because, again, these are touching, but these are not. So kind of look at this in a way of, we kind of need to make sure that this kind of, works. So I'm going to take this here and kind of just help, figure this out by just pulling this out to here. This will give us the point in the middle, which is here. So what I can do here now is take these edges, like these ones, and just delete them. I'm going to take this one here and just rotate it. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to pull it right there. And I'm going to reduce this down to 3, just like that. You see now that they're all next to each other. And this is actually at the right section. And same with this. These are all exactly where I need them. All right, cool. So what can we do with this? Well, we can kind of go in here and use these two to help, break this up. So I'm going to use the line tool here to help me with this. So bring it over right there and right click. Again, we're going to do this 2 more times. We're going to take this one here and do this like this. Actually, I'll escape out of there. Let's go with this routine right here. Just like that. Okay, so we got these two, and then we got one more to go, which would be this one and this one. The reason I'm taking these two here is because I want to use these to kind of help pull in the shape. So I can go in here now and use the F key. We're going to use the bridge curve. I'm going to select here, and I'm going to select, first of all, escape. I'm going to go with the F key, bridge curve. I'm going to select over here somewhere, kind of like about there, and just bring this over to here. Kind of like the same thing, about 2 points away, kind of like about right about here. And I'm okay with that. See how this is kind of like now formed nicely? And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's do this again. Actually, take the F key, hit the bridge curve, and again, we're going to go over here, kind of about right here to about right there, just like that. And we could hit OK. So now we're kind of getting the form. And we could do this again, one more time, F key, bridge curve. And this one's a little different. I'm going to go with kind of like right where the point says, here to here. And there we go. So now we got a nice looking form. I don't know if that's exactly perfectly straight with the other ones. Kind of looks like it is. Let's see if we can get this to work properly. I think it is. It looks like it's pretty much half and half all the way through. And we can now go in and kind of just clean this up. So let's go ahead and use the trim key. We're going to take away some of these forms, including that triangle, because that was here to help us just kind of make this form. Okay, cool. So now we got this form. We can select it. So again, we're going to select this. And this time we're going to go over here. And we need to bring this over here. So again, we could bring this over here. Let's do the G key, T key. Let's just do this. Oops, Control Z. Okay, hold on. I think sometimes this thing automatically goes to cutting things. So I need to bring this over there. So let's go and use the line and escape. I'm going to use this G key, F key, just like this on the center. So we're going to bring it right there. I'm going to turn this around. Okay, so I'm going to select this one here and delete it. There's no need for that. And again, I'm going to select the pipe, rotate it over. So again, let's just rotate this around. Thinking that we're going to use the G key here, F key. Let me do this first. I'm going to select everything here and just merge them together. This way everything's joined. So join it. And once it's joined, we have now a full object. We can do G key, F key. First of all, I think I'm going to go to the side here. Just like that. Select it. G key, F key. I want to get to the center. So this is saying this is center and this is center. So there we go. I want to make sure that was right. If not, then it won't be exactly, perfectly aligned with this line here. Okay. So One thing I noticed is that I also have this here. I'm going to delete this. Not sure where that came from. This is not going to work for me. I kind of need to bring this out. So just kind of keep things in mind. When you work at stuff like this, you got to think about how the end result will be. So this one will be G key. Hold on, let's pick this up, G key, and bring this up, right? I want this to be right about the same length as this. I don't want to go past this no matter what I do. All right, so there we go. So I think that's really good. And we can now go back to the face tool and do this again. So let's see how this looks. I want this end to be very smooth on the end. So that way it just forms right. So again, select this, sweep along this, and there we go. And we can hit OK. This one, we can select it and hide it. So hide. There we go. All right, so I'm going to start off and create some center sections here to kind of like cut into this with 3 tubes, basically, so it kind of fits into the same space. And I'm going to bring out a circle right in the center of this space and kind of pull this out. And I want to make sure the grids is off, of course, and we're going to go about there. And we're going to let this one go. And again, I'm going to create now 2 more copies of this for the bottoms. And when I bring this out, you'll see that it's a little bit off from the other one. So I'm going to kind of adjust this a little bit just to kind of bring this up and into position. So right about there. Great. All right, so we got those 3 sections now established, and we can hit OK. And we got to do a few more things here, but let's go ahead and now take these 3, and we're going to actually extrude those along the sweep of this line. So go down to the bottom, click on that, and then select the sweep. And select the line that we had earlier, so that way it emulates the same exact line, and go ahead and go with it. All right, cool. So now that it's done, we can now hide the very top line. And that's the easiest way to do this. Hide this first. And we can select with the line tool and select this one, and we can scale this down first. So let's bring this down, kind of like the same shape as the pipe. There we go. And then we can actually go in and select these other 2 and delete them. There we go. And now that we've done that, we can go in and kind of just take these 3 sections and expand them outward so they're past the actual tube outer shell. And we can go back now and bring this line here and G-key it and move it back out. So it kind of lines up on the outside of the space. Cool. Now it would have been probably easier just to kind of use the cutters in all 3 of these and then extend the end pieces. Just keep that in mind. That's another way to do that. So I'm going to expand these as well out into the space. And again, like I said, it would have been much easier just to create those circular holes right when I had it there already. Anyway, so we're going to go down and now take this and kind of adjust it. I want to make a copy of it and bring it over to the other side. So I kind of need to make sure I can align this other circular tool section onto the other sections. But if it doesn't actually stick to anything, I got to kind of go back in and kind of, figure out a way to attach it. Now, to do that, we can go in and kind of just, use the line tool to kind of, help us with this. I'm going to first use this to kind of just get this where it needs to go. So I'm going to go to the center of this space. And I could do that by just selecting the bottom here and kind of pulling it out. And that way I got this exactly lined up. And I really didn't need to do this top one, but I'm also going to do these other ones too. But how do I get to the other side of this without, having a problem here? So we got to kind of figure out a way to attach. Like I said, if I would have done this earlier, it would have been much easier. Or I could have selected the line here and just use it to kind of, make a copy of the actual line itself and then shrink it in, just like the other one I did before. So, that's another way to do it. It would have been much easier than trying to pull out these lines. But sometimes you don't know that you're going to have an issue with, selection sometimes. So anyway, I'm going to create and go from edge to edge here just to make this work. So this is just another example of how to get around things. And we can make a box out of it. And that box will now have ability to make a line down the center. So this way I can kind of just take that same exact, disk and bring it over to the center of that space. So now that we've done that, we can make a copy of this as well. So we can do Shift D on this, and we can actually use the G key, F key, and kind of just, make it right into the same spot over on the edge here, just like that. Cool. And again, I could do the line, same thing. So we can take this line, Shift D, G key, F key, and bring it right from edge to edge. All right, great. So now I've got these, I can actually go in and basically delete the other sections. So we can select those other sections, but let's unhide this circle first. And I'm going to take this down, do a Shift D of this, G key, F key, and just kind of bring it right to the space in the center. And again, we can come back and delete those other ones. Shift D again, G key, F key, again, bring it to the center. And this is a quick, easy way to kind of do that. But like I said, if we kind of scaled each of these down, it would have been just as easy. So we can select these down, delete them. And now we got our 3 sections, our 3 disks. Let's go and hide this one for now. Actually, I don't want to delete that one. Make sure we keep the actual rotation thing. We don't want to lose that. Okay, so I undid that. Great. So just delete that other line there. Perfect. Now we can take these and kind of extrude them out. Now, the thing with this is it's a little farther out than the other one, so it's not going to really work very well. So we got to take this line here and kind of, use this to extrude this. See, it's not going to line up at all because it's moved in, right? It's going to go by the other edge. So we kind of need to go in and kind of just readjust it. So let's do that. So since the tubes that I just created did not fit exactly in the same space, I just took the main sleeve and kind of moved it backwards a little bit, just so it exactly centered itself off on the exact 3 sections. That's all. Continue. So now I'm going to select the other main sleeve and the other 3 sections here, and I'm going to cut them into the space. So hit the Q key and keep the actual disk or the tubes. So there we go. Hit OK, and then let's continue. So I'm going to go ahead now and select the ends of these tips and kind of move them in a little bit, just because it's a little bit too far out. So again, all right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the actual line and I'm going to extend this and rebuild it basically so it has a better, I guess, end. So it just be that much easier. I'm going to bring this cutter back over here, kind of like into this space. And now I'm going to actually modify the actual line. So let's take this and we're going to extend it. So let's go back here, or we can actually hit the F key. So again, select the F key and look for extend. And I'm going to pull this outward just straight like that, past the actual end of those tips. And that's all I need. And the same thing with the other side. This way it'll actually come out completely exactly lined up perfectly. So again, we might have to select the tip here. So cancel. Let's go ahead and hit points, select the tip. And again, F key, extend, select it, and then pull this out just past the edge of that. There we go. Cool. So now these lines will exactly work properly for us. And we can go back in now and kind of cut this into the space. So we're going to rebuild this though later on. So first of all, let's go and select it and go to the side. I want to make sure I select the surface though. So I'm going to first copy this, so Shift D, bring this over. I'm just going to line this up the best I can for this one. And again, do it again, Shift D, and bring it over. And the same thing, just line it up the best you can. Again, I could have done this perfectly by just taking the edge around the actual disk itself and kind of shrinking it down, but that's fine. We can do different ways to make this happen. So pick the surfaces, all 3 of these, and we're going to now use this to sweep along that line. So sweep, select the line, and there we go. Now we can check to make sure that everything went well. So check both sides and make sure that they came out exactly centered off of the other one. And when I go to the front view here, you can see that I'm going to first go ahead and hide this so I can see what I'm doing. These are a little bit too low, so I'm going to go ahead and select this one and G key it just a little bit. I could have done both at the same time. That probably would have been better, but anyway, hit OK. And same thing with here. G key, bring it up. This way it's a little bit more centered. About right about there. Okay. Hit OK. And G key, just bring it up a little bit. Like I said, I could have done all three at the same time. It would have been easier. All right, so we're good with that. Hit OK. And now we can use this to cut into the spaces. So I'm going to select one at a time. Select the outer sleeve first. Select the inner piece and Q key. I'm not going to keep this one, though. And this way, same thing with these other two as well. Keep hitting OK until you're completed. Let's do this one as well. Q key. OK. And hit OK. So now we got our tubes that are correct, and we can continue with the next steps. So now you can see it's kind of coming through, which is really cool. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and kind of just adjust some things. I really like the forms. Everything looks good. And I got to go in and kind of cut this out. Basically, I'm bringing the line up here to kind of get kind of lined up here. And again, I'm not going to use it on the pipes itself, but I'm going to use it on the sleeve. So bring this one down as well, just to kind of line this up properly. And sometimes you might have to rotate this a little bit just to make it go at the right angle if needed. So again, we can now unhide the sleeve. So let's go ahead and unhide this. There we go. And I could take this line now and just move it a little bit over. So G key. And right about here. I think that looks good. And I could also go in and just take the points and kind of move this over just a smidgen so it has more of a rotation to it. And the same with this one. So again, we can move this over a little bit. Kind of making sure that I have this adjusted properly. So first I'm going to use this to cut. So C key, after I select it, cancel. Make sure the object's selected and hit C and select the line. There we go. And this line as well. Okay. And hit OK. So now I'm going to go in and kind of select the whole section that I just cut, because I'm going to play a trick on it to kind of form this out a little differently. So I'm going to select all those sections. And I'm also going to select this top section and again go around this section that I just did. I'm going to use this to kind of help, just make this a little bit bigger and have like an outer cage kind of in a sense. And now I got all those selected. I can actually go in and kind of pull this out, and we're going to go ahead and just work this. So let's pull this out just a little bit. This way they all kind of come together. I don't want to go too thick with it. Just want to pull it out so it has some form. That's a little different from the other form. Okay, cool. And it's really cool because everything kind of stays together, which is kind of what you need to make this work. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. I think it's a little bit too much. About there. And let's hit OK. Cool. Okay, for the next step, I need to select these sections as well as these other outer sections and kind of just combine them with the boolean. So again, select all three of them, but first we'll do the two at one time. We're going to hit QQ, make sure we completely connect it, and do the same thing with this end one here. So QQ, and that way it becomes one object. Perfect. And there we go. So that's completed, and let's continue with now cutting or changing the edges of these pieces. So we can hide these sections here, and we're going to go around and just select all these little inner corner pieces, and we'll pull them out to make them more rounded. So here we go. Okay, so we don't have the bottom for some reason the same as the other side, so I'm going to go ahead and mirror this. So select the object, and I'm going to mirror. For some reason it didn't take that one corner, which is fine. We can go in and just mirror it to the opposite side, and we're going to actually union both sides. So let's go and select the union and hit OK. This way it's exactly all the same and everything's done. All right, cool. So now that we've done that, we can go in and select each of these little corner pieces and with the edge selection, and I'm going to go around and select them all. And then we're going to rotate this and make it more into a nice looking fillet. So I'm just going to kind of go around and figure out the best locations for these and continue to go through this model just like that. So continue. So I'm going to fast forward the selection of these edges as well as the fillets of these things. And yeah, thanks for joining me, and subscribe, and thank you for joining me.